Hi, Charlene and Tony. It's good to see both of you here today again. Thank you for coming in. So before we get started, I want to go over our confidentiality agreement. Just want to remind you both that everything that happens here between the three of us will stay here unless there is a reason to report any suspicion of you harming one another um, or harming yourselves or someone else. I would have to report that as we've already talked about before. So the first thing I'm going to do before we get started is I'm going to set our agenda like we usually do, just to give you an idea of what we're going to be going over today. So to begin with, we are going to talk about a review of your week. We're going to talk about any progress that's being made, if there are any pressing issues, and then if there are, we're going to discuss how we can treat those issues. I'll assign homework like we do in every session, and then at the end, I will close with feedback from you just to get a few sentences from each of you about how you feel our session went today. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So again, I'm glad to see you both here today. So why don't you tell me how your week was, Charlene? Let me start with you. How was your week this past week?
Well, my week went well. I felt more comfortable and confident in my class this week as opposed to last week. I wrote a paper and I got a great grade on it, so that boosted up my confidence level. Um, Tony has been making progress with our son
Good.
Jimmy, but he still very much yells at him.
Okay. All right. All right, Tony. And how was your week this week?
Well, I had a good week, but I've been struggling with disciplining
Okay.
our son.
Okay.
I'm the man of the house, and this week I did not physically punish him. I
Okay.
only yelled at him.
Okay.
Um, when I was not physical with him,
Mm-hmm.
it seemed that he tried to overtake me.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like you're making progress. So I want to congratulate you both on that, Charlene. First, I want to talk about your schooling. It sounds like you're getting a little bit more confident. Maybe there's some things that we've talked about that are starting to work for you. So congratulations on your paper. And then Tony, I want to say to you, that's great that you have started to make progress as far as discipline. I know you're not where you want to be in terms of the goals we have set, but over time, we'll get to that place. So it's just important to acknowledge the progress that you're making and keep that in mind. Um, all right. So it sounds like that you both are still having that primary concern of the discipline and the misbehavior of your son. So that's still weighing very heavily on both of you. Would you feel that is true?
Yes.
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
All right. So what I want to start out with doing, I'm going to ask from each of you if you can give me an idea of what your son is doing when the discipline is happening. So, Charlene, I'm going to start with you to figure out what would you say if you could give me an example of what is happening with your son when your husband Tony starts to bring in the discipline.
I think it's just, culturally speaking, where we from, normally in our generation, we don't have kids that are disrespectful to adults. We never did it to our parents. So I think the thought when Jimmy does this, it kind of sets us off. And I understand why Tony does this, because this is what we are not used to. So it could be the slightest little things
Okay.
that would just set him off. It could rolling his eyes back, or not paying attention, or not doing what he's told.
Okay. All right. Would you say that there's anything specific that he's doing that's setting Tony off?
It's
Um,
usually the simple things.
Simple things. Okay. Eye
Mhm.
rolling,
Mhm.
making faces.
Mhm.
What about when he's asked to do his chores or asked to help around the house? Is that an issue for him? Does he have outbursts when he is being asked to do things around the house?
Yes. Any
Okay.
little thing seems to
Set
set him
him
off,
off. Okay.
which in turn sets Tony off.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So, Tony, let me hear from your perspective. What would you say is happening that is causing you to have a reaction to want to use discipline with your son?
Um, Usually he's just being a brat until I hit him.
Okay.
Um, he continues to act like a brat. So
Okay.
when I ask him to take out the garbage, he yells at it. He yells and cusses at me or his mother.
Okay.
So I smack him in the
Okay.
face, and he cusses at me.
Okay.
When he does that, then I continue to smack him
Okay.
until he stops acting disobedient.
Okay. So it sounds like, from what I'm hearing from both of you, that maybe short term, the punishment that you're using right now is working. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
far as maybe like for a few hours, but long term, there's nothing that you found so far that's sticking. Does that
Right.
sound right?
Yes.
Yep, that's
Okay.
correct.
All right. And Tony, do you feel, because Charlene had shared you very easily lose your temper? Tony, do you feel that is an accurate statement?
Well, yeah, of course. I'm only human.
Okay. Okay, and that's fair. It's important to acknowledge, that it's you, like you said, you are human. It's okay for you to get upset, but we want to start to think about ways that we can maybe calm the environment, so to speak, with yourself, your family, your
Mm-hmm.
wife, and your children. So, all right. So, like I said, I know you both are very stressed, and this is only adding stress to your life and your relationship. So, are you both agreeable towards working towards establishing more firm boundaries, firm but different boundaries with the discipline of your son?
Yes.
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
All right. Good. So, like we said before, obviously the punishment that is happening right now is not working long term. So we need something that's going to be more long term for your son to acknowledge there are consequences for my actions. When yelling at him or just smacking him, it's clearly not working, as you've described to me before. So it sounds like he needs to know there are consequences for his actions. So, something that I think may be helpful, and you are both open to give me feedback about this, is whenever he becomes disruptive, he misbehaves, whatever he is, for example, if you go in and you ask him, can you take the garbage out? And he screams at you, curses at you, whatever it is, whatever he's doing in that moment, I want you to take that away from him. If he's playing video games, he's playing on the phone, on the computer, TV, whatever he's doing, take that away from him. Then he will see, oh, maybe there are consequences for my actions. If you stay consistent with that and you do that over an extended period of time, with the verbal abuse and the physical abuse, he already knows what's coming. He knows what to expect. He knows it's going to be over and that's it. With removing an item from him, he doesn't know how long it's going to be away from him. It's his, almost a sense of comfort for him. So that's going to shake him up inside.
Right.
So, is that something that both of you would be open to?
Yeah, sounds doable.
Yeah, that's doable.
Okay, good. So, as far as what you take away from him or how long you take away from him, that's going to be up to you. So, like I said, also, it goes back to the respect component where you said, now these days kids don't have the same respect where you guys, you said speaking in regards to culture, it's different.
Right.
So, this will also help him begin to understand, oh, I do need my parents. My parents are giving me things and I need to respect them, because until he can provide respect to you, then he's not going to get the item back. So these are going to be different things that he can think about when he's experiencing the consequences for his actions.
Right.
Okay? So in closing, I'm going to assign homework for this week like I do every week. So, Charlene, for this week, I know you said before you like to go get your hair and your nails done. So one day after work, after school, Tony can keep an eye on the kids. You can go get your hair done, get your nails done, whatever feels comfortable. So you have that time by yourself.
Right.
You get away from the house, you get away from the kids, everything. And then Tony, for you, I want you to also, you said you enjoy going out with your family
Mm-hmm.
after work. So one day Charlene can keep the kids. You can go out with your family for the evening, do whatever you want to do, and then, come home and, so you both have that time to get away. It's important, to keep that time separate. And then together, what I want you to do is keep a list in your journals, because I know you both have journals. Keep a list in your journals of items you can potentially take away from your son, which I know it might sound a little mean, but every time he behaves, you can take another item away, or you can extend the deadline. That's a conversation the two of you can have in private, and you want to write that down in a journal. And what I want for you to do is then whatever you do this week, whatever item you take away, whatever deadline you set, whatever conversation you have with your son about the item, the deadline, so on and so forth, bring that in next week so we can kind of see if it is or is not working, and we can go from there to tailor it to see if we can come up with something different if it doesn't work, or we can just change it around a little bit. Okay?
That'll work.
All right, perfect. So how do you both feel about this session today?
I felt it was definitely successful.
Good.
Progress.
Good. I'm glad. So again, I will hope you both have a good week, and I will see you next week. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.